Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about putting, and thank you for those that voted. You can see the poll on the screen now, and if you want to vote for our next video, there's another vote down in the community post. Just go ahead and cast your vote. But why are we talking about putting? I'm glad you guys chose it, is because this is 60 to 70% of your total game, and unfortunately, we spend probably 90% on our full swing where it doesn't really matter. So let's take a look over to this putting green here. And what we're going to notice is that most of the putting greens on every golf course typically slope from back to front and typically work their way in to out. Now, we usually are surrounded by bunkers on the outside of the greens, and most of our greens are receiving golf balls that are flying into the target this way. So a majority of our golf courses are going to be sloped severely from back to front. So knowing that, you want to try and leave yourself with uphill putts. So it's okay to hit the club short and wind up in the front part of the green if you have a pin like this one where it's in the middle of the green, because I want to have uphill putts. Statistically speaking, we make 5 to 6% more of the time when we have uphill putts. We want to avoid the back part of the green. So before we can even talk about the breaks, we have to talk about the stimp meter. And what the stimp meter is a measurement on how fast the greens are. Typically on tour, they are stimping out at anywhere from 12 to 15. And on our country clubs, we're looking at anywhere from 9 to 11. And the daily fee recreation, we're looking at 7 to 8. Now, what that really means is it's a non-scientific approach. It's basically a long piece of stick that they take with a notch, and they put the golf ball in the notch, and they raise it up. And once it falls out the notch, they measure from that point of contact out towards the green in feet. And they do it from the front, from the back, and from the side. They put it through this long process of what the calculation is, and that's what your stimp meter is. So for instance, if my stimp meter is up to here, the golf ball rolls down. The moment it touches that turf, it'll roll out. Let's say it rolls out to here. I basically just start pacing. 3, 6, 9. So this is going to be a 9 in the stimp meter. Now a tour level green would be 14, so it's probably going to be in this area here. So you can see how much further a tour level green will roll is that second golf ball. So how does that affect your breaks? The more the golf ball rolls, the more it's going to break by these small subtle breaks that we see around us. All right, so you can see there's the front of the green, and here is the back of the green. And typically this resembles most golf courses. Again, everything slopes from back to front. What we can see immediately around the green, and this is what I want you to look at, how it affects the break immediately, is bunkers. So everything falls away from the bunkers. As you can see, this green only has the bunkers on the left side, but it also has these huge mounds on the right side that will also affect that break. And as we move on back down here, there's no bunkers, but you can clearly see where those shadows of the grass are, that it's going to affect the slope. Now, what you can also notice too is behind us. So you can see those mountain ranges. Obviously, we're surrounded by mountain ranges in the Coachella Valley, but the tallest mountain range is right behind us, which will also affect your break. Things like sun. If you're playing on a very fast green, sometimes sun doesn't play a big part, but if you play one that is longer and more grain, then that will follow the sun. So before we can talk about breaks, we need to talk about your make percentage. And one of the reasons is some of my students have unrealistic expectations of what they should make. This is a 5-foot putt. That is a 10-foot putt. Tour average, they make 75% of 5 foot. Tour average from 10 foot, they're down to 38%. And once we double this, we go to 20 feet. They're only making 14% from 20 feet. Now, if you ask the average golfer how many they should make from 20 feet, they're probably thinking 75%. In all reality, the average golfer cut your numbers in half. So instead of 75%, you're probably looking at making less than 50% here. From this is 10 feet, the average golfer can probably make about 10%, and from 20 feet, it's just luck. So don't even worry about trying to make it at 20 feet and out. Again, that nice small circle, we're looking at about a 2 to 3 foot circle. Get that golf ball in that 2 to 3 foot circle, and that'll increase your odds, because although it's not guaranteed, once you get to about 2 to 3 feet, the odds of making these start of a sudden get into your favor. So shoot for that. If they go in, it's a bonus, but you don't want to 4-putt. 3-putting's the most, and even the 3-putts, you should be thinking about quitting golf sometimes. Okay, so how do we get the golf ball to go from point A to point B? And this all comes down to your quality control of the golf ball speed. Sometimes it can be a challenge though, and what I've done is I put a 30-foot putt here, and we're going to talk about how do you dissect your 30-foot putt into 3 sections. So your first section is when you first hit the golf ball. It's going to have most of your power behind it, and then the second section is about here. That's where you start to transfer that power over to Mother Nature, and the last third, which is your final section, it should be all controlled by Mother Nature. And the reason I say that is because Mother Nature and you are playing a kind of a balance point at getting my golf ball near the hole. So 30 feet, my first third is 10 feet, so 3, 6, 9, 10. This is about where I'm looking to get my golf ball. And this is my line. I need to choose my line correctly because the faster the golf ball moves, the less it's going to break. But I have to plan for that. And I can see this golf ball is going to move very fast towards the front of the green, just like we talked about. Most greens are receptive to golf balls flying into the target. So this is where I need to choose my line correctly. I need to start to play a little bit more break because Mother Nature is going to move a lot and she's not going to have any of my power. So I have to give her a chance to be up over here. So my first line should be about 5 feet right of the hole, because once I transfer my power to Mother Nature about here, that's no more my power. Now it's Mother Nature. She's going to take the rest of the golf ball down, and that's going to be all the slope. So let's see if we can get this thing close. And I'm going to line up to my transfer, which is about 5 feet right. So I'm looking at that little, whatever that is, a worm carcass. So let's use that worm carcass. Line up for that. So there's my transfer. Perfect. So I've given her as much leverage as I can give her. There she takes the power the rest of the way. And for me, again, we're just looking at that 2 to 3 foot circle. And I think this is about a 3 foot circle. So I've reached my goal, 3 foot circle. And from here, we just kind of line up. Remember, the odds once you get 3 feet and in are definitely in your favor. And it really takes a lot to miss a 3 foot putt unless you purposely get up and try and miss it. So hopefully that'll help you from that aspect. But let's take a look at another option. All right, so what I want you to notice is sometimes we think about hitting this golf ball straight where the entrance point is. So try and get used to thinking about where the entrance point can be if you have a big break. It's okay to think about the entrance point being on the right hand side here. It's also okay to think about being on the left hand side. And even sometimes I've actually used a door way back over here, because if you have a huge mound and you want this golf ball to hook back around and enter this way, sometimes it can be like that. And I'll show you a putt right now where things can change. All right, here's another situation, and we're talking about how hard do I need to hit it to hold that line. And that's a key thing, because this definitely looks like it's downhill. However, my first half of the putt, I'm actually needing to hit this uphill to hold that line, and then it's going to snap off at the end. So I'll give you an example of what I see. Looks downhill. I see a lot of golfers get up here thinking it's downhill, hardly hit the golf ball, it snaps off and still winds up very short. So they could see the break, however they don't realize that you're actually putting uphill to maintain that break. So you actually have to get this pretty aggressive. So your first half of the putt, you're looking to think about getting it up on the hill. Choose your apex. And what I mean by that is you'll notice that there's in your hole, you want to try and choose a door to come in from. And most of us try and choose that straight door, but sometimes you have to think about the hole. Your door is on the right hand side, so you want your golf ball to come in on the right hand door. So if that's my case, I have to think about, okay, well, what line does it need to be to get on that right hand door? And for me, a straight line from that right hand door is way out over here. So you can see how much break I would need to play, and assume I keep this up on that slope. So I'd have to play this way up over here and let the slope take it back down to enter on that right hand door. So let's see if we can do it. We're going to go very far up, hit it very hard, and there's that right hand door. So even then you can see it snapping in. I probably still hit it a little bit too aggressive on this side, so I should have taken it even higher, and the goal would be to take it way up over here and let gravity or Mother Nature take it in and enter that door on the right hand side. So it takes a lot of practice, but you have to think about your hole as choose your door. You want to go in the straight door? Do you want to go in the side doors? Do you want to go behind the golf ball, because
bonus time. So in this quick bonus video, if you are ever faced with a severe downhill lie, make sure you hit the ball off the toe of your putter, as this will help destroy your coefficient of restitution, also known as the transfer of energy. It will disable your putter, allowing the ball to be deadened. Try this out when you find yourself in that situation. Now let's get back to the video. So I'm going to show you a couple putts here. So this first putt is what I usually see some students make, is they find that initial line and they just underhit it. They're afraid of that downhill lie, but what they should be doing is picking a spot much higher. So a good rule of thumb is whatever line you see with your eye, you want to multiply it by 1.5, sometimes 2. And in order to keep it on that line, you can see me pointing my putter there, I have to get that ball to reach there. Now that first half of the putt, as we saw in the other video earlier, is uphill, so I have to make sure to stay committed to that line and envision this ball entering in my gate that I've chosen. And this gate is probably looking around like 3 o'clock, so I have to pick that line, make sure I hit it firm enough so it holds that line, and once it gets to that apex right about there, that's where Mother Nature takes over and just gradually gets the ball near to the hole. Now on an uphill putt, we're going to do 2 putts here. This first one, I'm going to hit it nice and firm, and you're going to watch that golf ball stay on that left edge because neither break got affected. Now the second putt, if I'm very timid on this, you will see that my first half of the second putt is breaking more because I didn't hit it hard enough. So make sure when you have an uphill putt, you can see that thing break to the right, make sure you hit it firm enough.
Alright, I hope that helps you, and I hope that you now have at least a little bit more knowledge on how to see the breaks and how to get used to hitting the golf ball with enough speed to play those breaks correctly. Just remember, uphill, it doesn't break as much. Downhill, it's going to break more, so we have to plan more. We have to have 3 sections, where uphill putts only need 1 or 2 sections. Hope that helps you. If you like that, hit the like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. There is the greens.